Hi everyone, Hina Wajid here. Thank you so much for joining me in today's session. In the start, I want to share a message about Medical Ultrasound Awareness Month. So October is Medical Ultrasound Awareness Month, and it is not just about celebrating the machine, it is about celebrating you, the people behind the probe, the eyes that see what no one else can, the hands that guide doctors to diagnosis, and parents to reassurance. So, my message to every student here is you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be persistent. No one becomes great overnight. So, every clear image and every confident diagnosis, these are result of hundreds of hours of quiet effort. So, in this field, you can never stop learning and never stop asking why. Because the best sonographers are not those who know everything, they are the ones who never stop trying to learn more. So that's the message. And now let's begin the topic. So our topic today is about twin to twin transfusion syndrome. But we will discuss from the very basics. So any one of you can please let me know how many types of twin gestation are there? There are two main types. One is dizygotic, other one is monozygotic. What is the difference? Monozygotic and dizygotic? Anyone?
Monozygotic
Yes?
is when two fetus share single placenta,
Okay.
and dizygotic when they have different placenta.
Okay. Exactly, you are right. How these two types form? What's the difference? So, monozygotic, one zygote. So, one egg and one sperm, they combine, one zygote forms, and then that's split into two. So, in monozygotic, one egg plus one sperm, and then one zygote that splits into two. So that is in monozygotic. Also they are known as identical twins. Okay. The other type is dizygotic. So dizygotic, as the name shows, how many zygotes are there? Two zygotes. So two eggs and two sperms, they combine, and then there are two zygotes. So dizygotic, they always have two different gestational sacs. They always result in dichorionic and diamniotic pregnancy. Dichorionic, diamniotic means there are two gestational sacs, two amniotic sacs, two placenta. And what happens with the monozygotic? So monozygotic, they further splits into two. But what happens? Either it is monochorionic, monoamniotic, or dichorionic, diamniotic, or monochorionic, diamniotic, it depends on one thing. What is that? Anyone? Time. So it depends on timing. How late or early it splits. So if they split earlier, then the more separation. Like there are two friends. So if they spend less time together and they get separate earlier, so separation is easy. But when they spend much more time together, separation is more difficult. So same here. The earlier it splits, the more separate they are. So what type of twin gestation will happen then? There are three chances. So either they could be dichorionic and diamniotic, or they could be monochorionic, monoamniotic, or they could be monochorionic and diamniotic. So the earlier the split happens, which type of gestation will result? Anyone? Any guess? Dichorionic diamniotic. Because in dichorionic diamniotic, there are two gestational sacs and there are two amniotic sacs. So they are more separated. And if the separation is very late, then what happens? Monochorionic, monoamniotic, single gestational sac and single amniotic sac. So the late the separation happens, it results in monochorionic, monoamniotic. So if the split happens between 1 to 3 days, then it results in dichorionic diamniotic twins, which means two gestational sacs and two amniotic sacs and two placentas. So it's like each baby has its own room and kitchen. Two placenta, it's like kitchen because it is supplying nutrients and everything to the fetus. And there are two gestational sacs. So, like two rooms. That results in dichorionic and diamniotic. And it is the safest type. Because each twin has its own supply and its separate room. Okay, if the separation happens between 4 to 8 days, then it results in monochorionic and diamniotic. So how many placentas will be there in monochorionic diamniotic?
One placenta.
Yes, there is one placenta. So monochorionic, one gestational sac and one placenta. But diamniotic, so they have a one kitchen because their placenta is shared. So they become more risky because they share the same blood supply. Okay, next one. If the separation happens between 8 to 13 days, it results in monochorionic monoamniotic twins. So how is it different from the others? Anyone?
Sunshine.
Both sac and the placenta.
One gestational sac, one amniotic sac, monoamniotic. Now one amniotic sac only.
One amniotic sac, one placenta.
And one placenta.
Yeah, one.
Yes.
2 placenta.
Monochorionic means one placenta. So there is one placenta and there is
One
gestational sac. There is one amniotic sac. Yes. So it's like now the kitchen is same. Placenta is one, and also both babies, they are living in the same room because there is one amniotic sac. So there is no wall in between. There is no dividing membrane. Okay, everyone please mute your mic because there is distortion. Okay. So because there is no dividing wall, so it becomes very risky because umbilical cord can get tangled. And what happens if they split after 13 days? Then what happens? Anyone?
Conjoined twins.
Yes, conjoined twins. So now they are physically connected. It's like both twins, they are lying on one bed, like they are very, very close. They are attached to each other. That is conjoined twin. So if the split happens early, then it results in dichorionic diamniotic. If between 4 to 8, monochorionic diamniotic. If late, then monochorionic monoamniotic gestation. So now because time is very short and we have to cover so much, so we will focus mainly on the images. Now here we can see monochorionic monoamniotic twin gestation image. So it is subtype of which gestation? Monozygotic or dizygotic? Anyone?
Monozygotic.
Yes.
Monozygotic.
Monozygotic. Dizygotic twins always result in dichorionic and diamniotic twin gestation. And monozygotic, they can result in 3. There are chances of 1 of 3. Either dichorionic diamniotic, either monochorionic diamniotic, or monochorionic monoamniotic. So it is subtype of monozygotic gestation. Now what are the features of monozygotic twin gestation on ultrasound? Anyone?
That's one placenta. Yes, that's one placenta and one gestational sac.
Same
Okay.
gender.
Same gender in all types of monozygotic twins. Dizygotic twins, it can result in fraternal or different gender, but all type of monozygotic twins, they will result in same gender. Okay. Now there is one gestational sac and there is only one amniotic sac. And is there any dividing membrane?
No.
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 Yeah.
There is no dividing membrane. In monochorionic and monoamniotic, we can only see one gestational sac. We can see one amniotic sac. And then here we can see these two twins, and there is no dividing membrane. And later there will be only one placenta. Okay, here we can see monochorionic and diamniotic twin gestation. So how is it different from monochorionic and monoamniotic?
Two gestational sacs.
Gestational sac, one placenta. Two amniotic sacs.
Okay, how many
One
gestational
placenta.
sacs? How many gestational sacs are there?
Two.
Two gestational sacs.
But I can see only one.
We have two gestational sacs here and one.
There are two gestational sacs. It's separating membrane.
No. Intertwin membrane.
Yes, there is presence of intertwin membrane. Okay, so there is presence of intertwin membrane. We can see there is one gestational sac. This large sac is only one. Okay, monochorionic. So there is one main outer covering, monochorionic, one gestational sac, one placenta. One gestational sac and one placenta in monochorionic. So monochorionic, there is one gestational sac here, and what we can see here is two amniotic sacs. So this echogenic membrane, this is amnion. We can see two amniotic sacs there, and we can also see there is a dividing membrane. So now what's the difference between monochorionic monoamniotic and monochorionic diamniotic gestation?
The number of
There is two.
In monochorionic monoamniotic, there is one gestational sac, one amniotic, one amnion. And in monochorionic diamniotic, there is one gestational sac and there are two amniotic sac.
So in both there is only one gestational sac, only one placenta. What's the difference? In diamniotic, there are two amniotic sacs.
Two amniotic sacs.
Yes. And there is a dividing membrane. In monochorionic monoamniotic, no dividing membrane. So in diamniotic, two amniotic sacs and a dividing membrane. Okay, now here we can see dichorionic and diamniotic. Now what are the features of dichorionic and diamniotic?
There are two gestational sacs and two twin placentas.
Yes.
Placentas.
Yes. Now there are two gestational sacs. As we can see here, two gestational sacs, and in each sac there is further presence of amniotic sac and the twin, and between them we can see there is a thick dividing membrane. So there are two gestational sacs, two placenta, and in each gestational sac there is further amniotic sac and a twin, amniotic sac in presence of fetus, and between them is a thick dividing membrane. So what's the difference between monochorionic diamniotic and dichorionic diamniotic twin gestation?
In
number
monochorionic
of gestational sacs.
Monochorionic diamniotic twin gestation, there is just one sac in monochorionic, and then there's a thin membrane dividing the sac into two amnions. But in diamniotic dichorionic, there's two different sacs, gestational sac, two different amnions, that's amniotic distinct membranes, and then there are two different placentas and a thick dividing membrane that is above 2 mm.
Okay, good. So in
I think the
monochorionic,
only distinctive
monochorionic and diamniotic, there is one gestational sac, but dichorionic, because there is di, so there are two gestational sacs. In monochorionic, one placenta. In dichorionic, two placenta. Monochorionic, thin dividing membrane. Dichorionic, a thick dividing membrane is present. Which one of them is more safe?
What
Dichorionic
did you say?
diamniotic, because there are two placentas. Okay, one more question. In early pregnancy, around 5.5 weeks, there is no amnion, there is no fetus yet. So, which thing will tell you about either it will be monochorionic, diamniotic twin gestation, or monochorionic, monoamniotic twin gestation?
By
Dividing membrane.
Gestational sac is one in monochorionic. So I am asking about monoamniotic and diamniotic
Dividing membrane.
in
There will be
early
two.
pregnancy. Around 5.5
There will be
weeks.
two yolk sacs.
Which thing?
There will be two yolk sacs. Presence
Yolk
of
sacs.
two yolk
Yes,
sacs.
presence of yolk sacs. So yolk
Two yolk
sacs
sac.
tell you how many amniotic sacs there are. Two yolk sacs mean there will be diamniotic gestation. Okay, now there is T sign and lambda sign. So T sign, it is seen in which gestation?
Monochorionic, monoamniotic.
Monochorionic, monoamniotic.
Monochorionic diamniotic.
There is no dividing membrane in monochorionic and monoamniotic, because there is only one main amniotic sac. So there is no division. And more risky pregnancy is monochorionic, monoamniotic. Okay. Now this T sign is present in monochorionic and diamniotic pregnancy when there is one gestational sac and there are two amniotic sacs. So we can see a dividing membrane, and because it is very thin, and we can see a T shape when it inserts into placenta. So it is known as T sign. And here is twin peak sign or lambda sign. So we can see a triangular thick area when it inserts with placenta. So that's why we call it twin peak sign or lambda sign. And it is present in which gestation?
Dichorionic,
Yes.
amniotic.
Dichorionic, diamniotic.
Amniotic.
Okay, good. Here again we can see this. Which sign is there?
किसका मोबाइल बज रहा है?
Dividing membrane. It is T, making T sign or lambda sign.
It's T sign.
Anyone
It
else?
is lambda sign. Lambda sign.
Lambda sign.
Lambda sign, because here we can see this thick triangular area. So it indicates which gestation?
Thin is T and thick is lambda.
Thick, making this triangular interface is lambda. So it shows which type?
Dichorionic diameter.
Dichorionic diamniotic.
Yes, dichorionic and diamniotic twin gestation. So, more complications are seen in which type?
Monochorionic
Amniotic.
Monochorionic diamniotic. Monochorionic diamniotic. In twin A.
There was no separation in which type?
monochorionic, monoamniotic.
Monochorionic and monoamniotic, because there is no dividing membrane. So there will be most complications. And also complications occur with monochorionic diamniotic. Why? Because they share one placenta. So there are also complications associated with monochorionic and diamniotic. So common complications, examples, anyone? Names of common complications of twin pregnancy?
Twin TTS.
Yes, twin transfusion syndrome, TTS. Okay, and
Trap.
Vanishing twins.
okay, trap, twin reverse arterial perfusion sequence, and there could be selective fetal growth restriction. There could be TAPS, twin anemia polycythemia sequence. There could be cord entanglement in monochorionic and monoamniotic twins. So I will just briefly explain here, and then we will discuss TTS. So first of all, twin transfusion syndrome, TTS. So what happens? Anyone? What happens in TTS?
Ma'am, one twin become donor and the other twin become recipient. The
Yes.
donor become anemic and the recipient takes, and in the last the donor become die and recipient can survive
So
due to the anemia.
in TTS, one twin gives too much blood to the other through a shear placenta. So donor twin, because it gives too much blood to the other. So there will be oligohydramnios in the donor twin, and recipient twin, because it receives too much blood, so there will be polyhydramnios and it becomes swollen with too much fluid. And donor twin becomes very small. It becomes stuck. So it becomes very small. So it's like there is a one straw. It connects two juice boxes. So one box lose all the juice and the other one it become overfill. That happens in twin transfusion syndrome. Then twin anemia polycythemia sequence, TAPS. What happens in TAPS? It occurs in late stage of TTS, and one twin lose red cells, becomes anemic, and other becomes polycythemic because it receives too much red blood cells. So it's like there is one battery draining power into another. One goes weak, one overheats. So same happens here in TAPS. And which Doppler value is very important in this TAP sequence? Middle cerebral artery Doppler. And then further there is peak systolic velocity, which is important in TAPS. Okay. Then comes selective fetal growth restriction. One twin grows slow because it receives less blood. Then there is trap sequence. What is the full form of the trap? Twin reversed arterial perfusion sequence. One twin has no heart, that is known as acardiac, no heart. It totally depends on others' blood flow. That is a cardiac twin or trap sequence. And then comes cord entanglement. So no dividing wall and cords twist around each other. It happens with which gestation? Anyone? Monochorionic, monoamniotic. Because there is no dividing membrane at all. So these are the common complications. Okay. Now let's start with twin to twin transfusion syndrome. So what happens here? Imagine two babies sharing the same kitchen, same placenta. And one fetus, it receives more nutrients and the other one receives less nutrients. So it's like there are two straws and one straw is a little too strong and starts pulling more juice and the others get less. So there is unequal division of the blood supply and nutrients. That is the main problem here. So one twin keeps donating blood to the other through connecting vessels in the placenta. And what is the result of it? Anyone?
Hydramnios and then polyhydramnios on the recipient.
So one become donor and one become recipient. So donor is like a kid sharing too much water with others. So his own cup dries out. So donor twin, because it's a giver. So giving too much blood to the recipient. So what happens with the donor? It receives less blood. So there is low blood volume. It becomes anemic and dehydrated. What about urine output of the donor twin? Low or high?
Low.
Low. So amniotic fluid will be less or more?
Less.
Less. So it results in oligohydramnios in the donor twin. So it becomes small and stuck to the wall. So it is also known as stuck twin. So here we can see twin A and twin B. What do you think? Which one is donor here? Twin A or twin B?
Twin A.
Yes, because there is less amniotic fluid here. And in this example, okay, so there are two images. Now, in this image B, which one is donor, A or B? B, because it is, yes, because it is small. So, what happens with donor? Okay, everyone, please mute your mic. Okay, so what happens with donor twin? There is low amniotic fluid. There is oligohydramnios. It's stuck to the wall. So it is known as stuck twin. What about urinary bladder appearance of the donor twin? Anyone?
It will appear smaller.
Yes. Smaller or empty bladder on ultrasound. Okay. Now what about recipient twin? Recipient twin is like a kid who keeps drinking from both straws. So it becomes overfilled and tired. So it gets too much blood, becomes overloaded. So it produces increased urine output. So there will be polyhydramnios. In early stage, in stage 1, there is only like difference with amniotic fluid discordance. So oligo and poly only in stage 1. In stage 2, urinary bladder will also be affected. In one twin more prominent and other it will be very small or empty. Then further in stage 3, Doppler values they also become affected. And then in stage 4, what happens? There will be sign of hydrops. Hydrops will happen with which twin? Donor or recipient?
Recipient.
Donor.
No, donor.
Recipients.
Recipient.
Who is receiving more blood? Recipient. I'm sorry, there was a network issue at my side. So we discussed about the stages of twin to twin transfusion syndrome. So what happens in stage 1?
Yes.
Amniotic fluid imbalance, oligohydramnios and polyhydramnios. What happens in stage 2?
Bladder,
Yes,
urinary bladder,
bladder
is not
appearance
visible
is different.
or overdistended.
Yes, overdistended in one and empty or small in other. Okay. In stage 3, what happens?
Abnormal blood flow is detected by a vessel
Yes,
such as
Doppler values
artery
will be,
or
waveforms
middle
will be affected. Okay. Stage 4,
hydrops.
hydrops.
Hydrops containing one or both fetuses.
Which one, donor or recipient?
Recipient.
Recipient. So recipient's heart becomes thickened and weak from extra load, so it can develop heart failure or hydrops, and we can see skin thickening and fluid in the chest or abdomen. And what happens in stage 5?
One or both twins died.
Yes. So death of one or both twins happen in stage 5. So that is their staging. Now we will see their images one by one. So in twin to twin transfusion syndrome, there is also CRL discordance. What is the meaning of CRL discordance? Anyone?
Ground rump length will be unequal in both fetuses. No?
Yes, because one fetus will grow more, the recipient one, and one fetus will be small, the donor one. So there will be CRL discordance. It is more than 10%. And how to calculate the CRL discordance? Large twin size are the CRL minus small divided by large multiply 100. This way we can calculate discordance of anything. CRL, NT, any discordance we can find by this formula. Large minus small divided by large multiply 100. So CRL discordance will be more than 10%. And knuckle translucency discordance will be more than 20%. Okay, now comes the Doppler waveforms. So ductus venosus. Normally A wave, it is above the baseline or below the baseline? Anyone?
Above the baseline.
Above the beat.
So normally it is above the baseline, as we can see here. And then in abnormal waveform, we can see A wave reversal, as we can see here. A wave is below the baseline. So in ductus venosus, normally A wave is forward, and in abnormal pattern, there is reversed or absent A wave. So it can happen with both, because there is a cardiac strain in both twins, especially in recipient, because it also receives less blood flow. So there is a strain in the heart in the donor and recipient twins both. And here we can see normal twins, intertwin membrane. In TTS, there could be intermembrane folding, as we can see here. In stage 1, there is difference of amniotic fluid. Okay. In twins, what is the method to measure the amniotic fluid? Anyone? Maximum vertical pocket method. So we only measure
Centimeter.
one pocket. We only measure one pocket, which is largest in both twins. So normally we take 4 quadrant measurement, amniotic fluid index. But in twins,
Yes.
only 1 quadrant measurement is enough. Now what is the
Yes.
normal value for the maximum vertical pocket?
Less than 8 centimeter.
Their range is 2 to 8 centimeter. Less than 2 is oligo and more than 8 is poly.
Okay.
Yes. So
Yeah.
in stage 1, there will be oligohydramnios in the donor twin, we can see here, and polyhydramnios with the recipient twin. Then we say there is stage 1. Then stage 2, what happens? We can see different appearance of urinary bladder. So there will be enlarged bladder in the recipient twin and small bladder in the donor twin. So again here we can see, okay, which arteries we can see forming V shape around the urinary bladder?
2 arteries in 1 vessel.
Two umbilical arteries.
Like.
2 umbilical arteries
Yes.
we can see forming V shape around the urinary bladder. So here we can see in donor twin, no bladder visualized. In recipient twin, it is visualized and it is more prominent. So it suggests stage 2. Okay, now stage 3. So we can see abnormal Doppler waveforms. Normally, A wave is forward to above the baseline, and in abnormal pattern, we can see either absent or reversal of the A waveform, as we can see here. So it can happen with both twin A and twin B, donor and recipient. Okay, then umbilical artery. So what is the normal pattern in umbilical artery? There is a forward flow or there is a reverse flow.
Forward flow.
There is normally a forward flow in the diastole, and after 20 weeks its resistance decreases. So there is more flow seen in the diastole. And what happens when there is increased resistance? What happens?
IUGR.
Yes, IUGR, but what about diastolic flow? It increases or decreases when there is increased resistance?
It decreases.
So
Yes.
diastolic flow decreases.
It decreases. So when there is more resistance,
It decreases.
diastolic flow decreases. Okay. Now in these two waveforms, one and this second, which one has less flow in the diastole? The peak shows systole, and here we can see the low Doppler shift, it shows the diastole. So the diastolic component is more in this twin B waveform or in twin A waveform?
It's more in twin B.
It is more in twin B. We can see high diastolic flow here, and we can see less, like it is more close to the baseline here. More close to baseline means small Doppler shift. So it means small Doppler shift. It means less diastole value. So it's abnormal here in A because diastolic component is small here. It is more close to baseline. It is more above from the baseline. There is more diastolic component. And also SD ratio. It becomes high when resistance is less or more.
More.
Yes, SD ratio shows resistance. So high SD ratio means there is more resistance. So there is high SD ratio here in twin A. It is 5.1. So normally it is less than 3. When it becomes more than 3, we say it is high, and here it is very high, 5.1. So this pattern here is abnormal. So this happens specially. High resistance happens specially with donor or recipient.
Both.
Donor, because donor is the one who is giving, not receiving. High resistance. Yes, donor shows high resistance. So it specifically happens with the donor. Okay. So here again we can see umbilical artery Doppler. Normally we can see a forward flow, like above the baseline. We can see no reverse component here. But here we can see reversal. We can see below the baseline component of the diastolic flow. So it show increased resistance or decreased resistance.
Increases.
Yes, increased resistance. So high resistance happens, then diastolic flow is either absent or it is reversed. As we can see here, absent, and here we can see reverse pattern. And also SD ratio becomes high. Umbilical vein becomes more pulsatile, especially in the recipient umbilical vein. Why? Because it is receiving more blood. So it becomes pulsatile when there is more strain to the heart. Okay, now stage 4. We have only 4 minutes left. So what happens now in stage 4? There is hydrops, and hydrops with donor or recipient. Hydrops with donor or recipient.
With recipient.
Recipient.
Yes, it happens with recipient because recipient is receiving more blood flow. So here we can see a normal abdomen, and here we can see in hydrops. So we can see there is skin edema, skin thickening. We can see there is ascites. We can see fluid here in the abdomen. Okay. Now in this image, we can see skin edema around which structure?
Around the neck.
Around the fetal head, we can see here skin edema. So what are hydrops signs? There is fluid including at least two components, two or more components. It could be pericardial effusion, pleural effusion, ascites, generalized edema, enlarged placenta, hepatomegaly, polyhydramnios. So these are the signs of the hydrops. And here we can see pleural effusion around the lungs, and pericardial effusion around the heart. So we can see here ascites plus pleural effusion, and here we can see normal fetal heart appearance, and here we can see fluid around the fetal heart. So it is image of pericardial effusion. Now there is last stage, which is stage 5. And what happens in stage 5? There is death of either one or more twin.